Alright, I'm going to make a quick video of how to powder paint a bucktail. This is for all the guys that we fish with and whatnot. What you really need when you start out is just a simple propane tank. You can use a propane tank to heat up the bucktail jig heads, which we are using the banana head jig. The only other thing that you will need is just the powder paint itself. The simplest way to heat these jigs up is get your propane tank, light the tank. You want to try to have it in a ventilated area so that you don't die of any fumes or anything like that. But once you get it ready, you want to come over and you want to prep your powder paint. If your powder paint is if it's been setting up for a while, it gets fairly hard. What you need to do is get something to stir it up, and you create more or less of a very fluffed up type of powder. When you look at it, once I get it fluffed up, it looks like it moves around very easily and very smoothly without a problem. Once you get the powder paint into that aspect, you're ready to go back and you're ready to take your bucktail jig head. You will run it over the heat for a matter of about 15 to 20 seconds. You'll just sit right here and just more or less you're heating up the bucktail jig. The propane tank is turned down on a very low power so that you don't have a lot of heat coming out. You're more or less just heating up the lead. You want to try to heat up every single aspect of this bucktail so that when you go in here, all you're going to do is take this jig head and then you're going to come back and you're going to go down in the powder paint, stir it around, pull it up, and tap it off. Once that's done, the jig head is actually ready to be heated back up. You'll notice that it's starting to clarify and it's starting to get clear and it's starting to melt on back in place. Once it's ready for that and it gets to that point, that is particularly all you have to do. I have this board set up right here where I can set this bucktail jig head in so that I can bake this bucktail jig. Once again, here's another one in the same aspect that I'm going to repaint in another green. It's just a simple lead-headed jig head. You want to come back over here, run it up and down over the heat for between 10 and 20 seconds. It's not really difficult. You just more or less are heating the lead back up. Once you get it heated up to a desired level of what you think, then you want to turn around and go right back, run it back in the powder paint, swirl it around a couple times, come up, knock off the excess. And something that you'll watch is sometimes you'll have a little bit of powder that sort of messes up and it sits there, it's like really dry. Just let it set for a second and you'll see it clear right on up. And that's all it is to it. It's very simple, it's very easy to do. When you get this done, this actual piece of wood I made, but when it gets done you come out and you have a jig head that looks like this. Now I'm going to bake these at 350 degrees for 15 minutes in the oven on this actual piece of wood. Once you get them back out and the jig head is come out, it's a nice hard metal, it's a hard paint. It's nothing really particular to it. You can buy these little eyes if you want eyes put on it. We use the skirts where we use them for striper fishing, and it's just a stick-on eye. You can put the eyes on there and you can tie the skirts on there if you want to. You can do pretty much anything you want to with these jigs. The simple fact is that this jig right here, by putting eyes on that jig is ready to go fishing. And that's all it is to it, fellas. It's not really that hard.